Welcome to Startup Success, the podcast for startup founders and investors. Here you'll find stories of success from others in the trenches as they work to scale some of the fastest growing startups in the world. Stories that will help you in your own journey. Startup Success starts now.
Welcome to Startup Success. Today we have a real treat. We have Mike Collins, who is the founder of Alumni Ventures and now the CEO. And this is a real treat because Alumni Ventures is a very well-known VC firm. So we're super excited to have you, Mike. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kate.
So I'd love to hear in your own words how Alumni Ventures is different from most VC firms we speak to. And then we can get into why you felt the need to found your firm in this direction, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. A couple of main ways. One is most venture capital firms get their capital from institutions, endowments, pension funds, sovereign wealth, money. Our capital comes from individuals. So, we're a huge network of people, all accredited, but around the globe. And the basic idea is that we think venture capital is really important, including for individuals to have in their portfolio, and that we could do better with this all-important asset class together than any of us could do on our own. From an investing strategy standpoint, we really we're a co-investor. So we're not going on boards, we're not pricing rounds, we're not firing management. We are a supportive co-investor, and we get access to what we think are really top-tier deals because of that same network. So if you're an entrepreneur, you obviously have a relationship with a lead investor. That's almost a marriage, right? We're more like your favorite uncle, So it's we leave you alone. But we really, when you need help, we really try to be helpful. And, we're helpful in ways, usually with introductions to people within our network. So, hiring board members, customers, talking to other entrepreneurs who might be at a similar stage or in a similar, industry. We try to add value that way. And I think our reputation, and one of the reasons we've grown and been as successful as we have been, is I think our reputation is that we really kind of punch above our weight class when it comes to helping entrepreneurs. And so, we have a particular niche in the industry. This co-investing strategy means we work with everybody, so we don't compete. We do dozens and dozens of deals with the name brand venture firms. Our most common lead investors, we're behind Khosla and A16Z and Sequoia and Lightspeed and USV, and really amazing lead investors. And we're just a small part of the round and try to be helpful.
I really liked how you described that. You really captured how unique you all are. And I interview a lot of founders, and they're always, they have so much respect for alumni, but they don't always get it sometimes. So you did a great job of explaining it. Tell us, I want to delve into that more, but tell us why you felt the need to found the firm and a little bit about your background. I find that really interesting.
So I'm an old timer. So I my first job in venture capital was in 1986. So, time machine. This is, personal computer is just starting to happen. It's thought of as a toy. There's no internet. There's, no mobile phone, no cloud computing, no blockchain. It was a different era. But I was with a great firm in Boston called TA Associates at the beginning of my career. So had great mentors, really learned a lot. big influence on me, and went back to business school, Harvard Business School, where, I again had great influences, including, a guy named Clayton Christensen. Clay was, again, a big impact on my life as just an intellectual powerhouse, really, wrote some of the seminal work in entrepreneurship and innovation. Kind of Innovator's Dilemma is a Bible of, entrepreneurship and disruption. So, got an early start in the business. And, I feel just really passionately that technology, entrepreneurship, innovation is really what drives mankind forward. And yes, with any new technology, there's, unintended consequences, including negative things. The automobile led to smog and car accidents and sprawl, but still pretty good invention.
Right.
And the mobile phone, has created some issues for sure. But I'm glad we have it. And
Right.
and just being pragmatic too, Kate, is we don't go backwards really well. We can romanticize. I'm in an old mill building from the 1800s, and it was a revolutionary business model,
Back then, right.
at the time. But it's like people died in these mills,
Right.
with machinery, and there was child labor and people
Right.
working 18-hour weeks and days, and it was nutty. So
Right.
technology moves forward. I just am a big believer that it's a really important asset class, and that the more people that can be involved in venture capital and investing in these kinds of companies, the better. Now, obviously, this is different than buying, a mutual fund
Right.
or an ETF, right? I mean, there's the power law. This is an asset class that has risk. It's illiquid. You really need to be thinking about the right allocation within your portfolio. But if we're helping to democratize it just a little bit, I think we're doing good work.
Did people think it was an odd approach when you went this way?
Oh yeah, no, they
Yeah.
completely thought I was crazy.
Right.
Why would you deal with a heart surgeon in Des Moines who wants to make a $50,000 investment in a portfolio of 20 or 30 companies? And I believe that there was potential of creating a network of people that could be very, very powerful. And now that's, again, every entrepreneur that we've invested in that has done well has been thought of it as crazy at some point, right? I mean, that's almost the nature of the beast. Is you're seeing something that other people don't think, that I could not understand why this did not exist. I needed it. I needed a smart way to be a venture capital investor. And so, I just have, this is my life's work to create that. And, now we have 11,000 customers, and we have raised over $1.5 billion, and we have over 1,000 portfolio companies, and we're now expanding globally, Kate. We just opened an office in London and in Tokyo. And so our vision at Alumni Ventures is to be a global network of, there's great portfolio companies being created everywhere now. And there are people that want to invest in this asset class everywhere now. And so, the vision of being able to, help a startup in Israel that's, wants to raise its A round in Silicon Valley and wants introductions to potential clients in Asia, that is something where we really shine. So that's our mission, and we're a decade in, and we're pleased with our progress, but really excited about the future and where we go from here.
Very exciting. I'm glad you shared the stats. Yeah, my producer sent them to me that you've raised nearly 1.5 billion from over 11,000 investors, backing more than over 1,000 startups. Really incredible. Your vision, I think that is a testament to what you're doing. Tell
Yeah.
me about, so now I'm guessing individual investors come to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the early days, that was probably part of what you were doing, was finding investors.
Yeah, no, I mean, the early days, again, this is kind of classic startup, which is, we started around a community of people that I knew. I'm a Dartmouth alum, so we started with um, alumni of Dartmouth and created a kind of a community. The name Alumni Ventures,
Oh,
was because we organized alumni groups and
got
started
it.
with Dartmouth. And yeah, I probably took me a year to raise $1 million fund. And we raise $1 million in an afternoon now. So it's
Right.
it's it's very different. But we have communities around people who want to invest together. So alumni groups of 20, 25 top universities. But we also have communities around things that people want to invest in, and together. So we have, a deep tech fund, we have an AI fund, we have a woman's founders fund. So, whatever your area of interest, we try to make investing in venture capital really almost as easy as it is to invest in public stock. So you can go into funds, you can go into themed funds, and you can go into individual companies. So it's really, a lot of people start out with just joining our syndicate, which is just free to join, no obligation. You just have to be accredited, and you'll see the deals that we're doing. And we lean a lot, Kate, into education as well. We think that that's part of our role here, is to explain about venture capital. And we have 40 venture capitalists here. We take time explaining why we're excited about investments, how we're analyzing valuation, all the questions that people might have about venture capital and how it works and how we think, and how we look at a particular industry or trend or specific company. We try to be as transparent as possible about that process. So again, I think that that's a really important part of our mission.
I love that. I think a lot of people don't understand venture capital. So the fact that you're doing this and you're doing it so well says a lot. Let's touch on how you work with founders, because the way you described it is also unique. Tell us a little bit about that for the founders listening, because it's a great approach.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch to a founder is, we're not a lead. You're going to want the best possible lead you can to lead your financing. So the very best companies, the very best startups, actually, they're usually picking from a top 100 venture firm, um, because it's really important, that relationship. And they're going to be on your board. You're going to spend a lot of time with them. They're going to, set the price. They're going to lead. As I mentioned, that's a key relationship. Um, but we would like to be part of that round of financing, and we'll do 5 or 10% of it. We're not going to renegotiate terms or ask for,
Okay.
different agreements. If your lead is a strong, they're going to negotiate it, and we're going to go along with it.
Okay.
And if we don't, agree with it, we think the price is too rich or we don't like the terms, we just won't participate. We're not going to try to renegotiate.
Okay.
And then if we are part of your company and on your cap table, we actually do a whole onboarding process. And, we have a team at Alumni Ventures that works with our founders to see how our network and community can help you. And it's, again, most founders spend a lot of their time trying to get clients, customers,
Yeah.
right? How can we help there?
Right.
They spend a lot of time with wanting to build their team.
Mm-hmm.
How can we help you in recruiting? And then there's just other kind of key strategic relationships with other founders. So it's usually just trying to activate our network to help our companies succeed. I mean, we're not going to be your tech department or your business development team. I mean, you've got to build your own team, but it's more strategically, how can we help you? And, it's kind of the same thing you look for your advisors and board members for. It's just, we've got it on steroids with such a large, powerful network, if you will. So, yeah, that's our role.
That's a big kind of, you're contributing a lot there. I didn't realize that you all did that much. That's great. The lead partner must be happy when you join around.
Yeah, no, I think our reputation is great. I mean, the very best companies, getting access is competitive.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, it is, you'll have three amazing lead investors fighting to get into a company.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are times where it's like, regardless of who wins the lead position, we'll kind of tuck in behind them. So,
Right.
we have complete respect for the lead investors and the partners and the, significant role they play. We try to be humble and try to be helpful, but we also try not to oversell ourselves because, as a founder myself, I mean, ultimately the success of a company really is the team building the company. and and board can be helpful for sure, but it's really, let's not kid ourselves. Great founders, great teams, great teammates really make or break the situation. And we provide capital, we try to be helpful, but we don't kid ourselves that we're going to change the trajectory of a company.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that because a lot of the top VCs on this show, they all say that it comes down to the founders and the teams they build over and over again. So is that one of the primary things you're looking at? And what else are you looking at when making an investment?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're looking at the quality of the lead, which is a little different, right?
Oh, right. That's true.
So,
Okay.
so it's like, we work with all the VCs, so we know if this particular partner at this particular firm is making a big investment in, the domain that they have experience in, that's a huge tell to us that this is so that company is already on second base with us, right?
Okay.
And, then we do our own due diligence as well. And obviously we believe in the team a lot. It's so important. The world is so dynamic and a lot of companies evolve or pivot or, change their approach. And, the founder and the founding team's ability to kind of navigate change and to learn and adapt is really a really important part of our scorecard. And we're also just looking at kind of, some of the things that are the same things that other VCs are looking for is like, what is the strength of the technology here? What are the moats that they're building? how big of a problem is this?
Mm-hmm.
Have they gotten traction? Like, is this a team that has gotten out of the lab and actually talked to customers and sold something? So, I don't think we're terribly unusual in the kinds of things that we're looking at. I think we disproportionately, value the lead investor, and we disproportionately value the team.
Ah, okay. That's helpful. That's helpful. And then talk to me about the ecosystem. Like everywhere you read, pitch book, everybody, they're like, it's AI, it's AI. If you don't have
Yeah.
an AI play, you're not getting funding. No VC is excited about you right now. Is that how you feel? Are you seeing, I mean, are you all in on AI, and are there other sectors you're excited about?
I mean, I think a couple of things can be true. And one, I think AI is probably the biggest technology of my lifetime. And again, and I've seen some pretty big technologies. But when you talk about, and I think we're just at the beginning of it, but we're automating human intelligence. So, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there are lots of great segments to invest in. Um, Probably this is the golden age of entrepreneurship and technology and innovation. When I started out, there were pockets of technology and software and
Right.
microelectronics, and there were some things going on in biotech. But now it's almost every segment of the economy has really profound opportunity for great new entrants. So, I'll just list a few.
Okay.
One, energy,
Well,
right? The world needs more electrons,
yes.
full stop, right?
Right.
And that's solar, that's fusion, that's fission, that's all of the above. If you look historically at growth and quality of life, it is really strongly correlated to energy. And the demands of energy for AI,
Mm-hmm.
for electronic vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
for space, these are all going to demand that we innovate with energy. Um, and it's not picking a favorite. It is all of the above. And it's energy infrastructure, and it's, battery technology, and all of the rare earths that go into energy that are and the energy processing. So I would just give you energy as another huge bucket. I would also say, Kate, that really for the first time in my life, I am really optimistic about innovation coming to education,
Oh,
right?
good to hear.
I mean, my parents are teachers. I come from a long line of educators. And, you know, education has kind of been the hill that entrepreneurs have gone to die on,
Oh, for sure.
right? So, but um, I think the combination of some innovations in AI that we are going to see over the next 10 or 20 years, a lot more personalization, a lot more of lifelong learning.
Mm.
I think the idea of American education, which really comes from kind of a agricultural
Yes.
economy perspective,
Right.
where we take the summers off because we
Right.
got to get the kids home to
Yeah. Do the
bring in the
farm.
wheat,
Right.
kind of
Yes.
thing.
It's
And
true.
yeah. And listen, my grandmother, taught in a one-room schoolhouse in Wisconsin
Oh,
with
wow.
no heat, and it
Okay.
really hasn't changed that much,
No, it hasn't. They just
kind
separate
of
the
thing.
ages a little better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's about it,
That's
right?
it.
And
Right.
so I think education is going to see a lot of disruption. I think there is enormous potential in healthcare, and curing cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes and heart disease and a million other diseases, I think those diseases should be running scared,
Good.
because I think there is there's great understanding of how humans work, human systems. I think we're getting very granular. There's great things coming out of, AI, Google Labs. There's enormous understandings of protein folding, and then bringing kind of the power of compute and AI to create things that used to have to be done very slowly in a lab manually
Mm-hmm.
can now be done with kind of synthetic modeling. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we're starting to see scientific breakthroughs just beginning to break through, kind of poke their
Mm-hmm.
head out. But I think we're just at the dawn of really improving health span, again, which is a very excitable area of investing. And then I think there's space, and I think that we're at the dawn of a new era of space exploration and mining and communications, that I think are very exciting. Quantum computing is another
Yes.
area, which is the next probable platform, which again is, still in kind of the science fiction lab
Mm-hmm.
experiment mode, but, just so you can understand, Kate, I think from my enthusiasm, that it just is just every day, we make about 300 investments a year at AV, and every day we're reading about a new company that is we're investing in, that is just really exciting, and it's like, oh gosh, I'm so excited we're an investor in that company. That's amazing what they're working on.
That's really helpful and hopeful to hear, because so much lately everybody who comes on here just talks about AI, which is great, like you said, and very exciting. But it was nice for you to take us through the quantum computing and remind us about healthcare and all of that, because there's so much innovation happening there. Thank you for that. We always wrap up the show with advice for the startup founders listening. Anything you could share? It's their favorite part.
Ship. I
Oh,
mean,
get it.
you know,
Okay. Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
which is, I come from the school, I was taught like the startup was was kind of go write a business plan,
Yes.
go do a bunch of
Right.
research, you know,
Yes.
go, go think about all these wonderful frameworks, and then go, write the plan, then go execute the plan. And, that's wrong, frankly. The business of being an entrepreneur is much more of the scientific method. You have a thesis, you have a general idea, you run some experiments, and you iterate fast. And so, it is really about, get out there, meet customers, show them something, ship it, fix it, iterate, evolve. It's much more of the biological system of entrepreneurship that I, believe in. And so, this kind of phrase, hurry up and break things, gets, a rap of being like sloppy or just careless. Um, and we're not talking about that, but we're talking about the pace of learning is really what separates the companies that make it and the companies that don't. I mean, I'm old enough to have seen, this search landscape, of which
Mm-hmm.
Google was one of 20 companies. And Google won because it learned faster and iterated quicker than its competitors. And so, yeah, my T-shirt for a founder is, just ship it.
I love it. And I think you're spot on. Every successful founder on here says we just move, we iterate, we move, we don't overthink it, and we just, yeah, keep
No,
iterating.
it's one of the jobs of the founder
Right.
is company tempo.
Yes.
And and there's going to be forces that um, you have to manage the tempo of your team. Sometimes they actually have to be slow. This decision is too important. We need to slow down a beat. We have to think through it. We have to do scenario planning. And then there's a lot of times where it's ship it. So again, that's your job as a leader to, set the tempo of your organization.
Excellent. Excellent advice. Thank you for your time today. Where can listeners go find more information about Alumni Ventures?
Really easy. We have a good URL. It's av.vc.
Love
And
it.
so come visit us, sign up for our syndicate if you're interested in seeing the deals we're doing, attend one of our webinars to learn more, come to one of our events. We believe in getting together in real life with people. So we have offices in New York, in Menlo, Chicago, Boston. So come say hi.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a real treat. Thank you.
Excellent, Kate. Thank you.